Hello, this is Jim Kaufman with Rankin Technical College. This video is about the Chapter 8 homework with relation to the forms. Just a little bit of a kind of a helper video. So here's the assignment. So as far as this is concerned, just a music survey, and it doesn't have to be exactly like this. Just try to make it similar to the following picture here. Okay, I'll go ahead and go through a few things on this as well. I guess first of all, you probably should go look at the lecture on forms that I did earlier in the week on HTML forms, and also probably might be a good idea to come out and take a look at the different tags and so forth out here in on W3 Schools for forms. It might be helpful too. A couple things on here's some of the common ones that you'll be using in here. You'll be using the text one, the radio buttons, the checkbox. Okay. As far as these two here, submit, got submit and button. These have been kind of, you can still use these, it'll still work, but it's the kind of, if you're in your editor, Visual Studio Code, you'll notice that you'll see some red squigglies when you're trying to use these, just because it's suggesting that you actually use a button, right? It's the tag will start with instead of input, will start with button. We'll take a look at that. That's kind of what's preferred nowadays. So this is a little bit outdated, okay? Something you always have to watch on sometimes on some references to different kinds of code, right? Let's see here. So basically this is your music survey screenshot. So you've got the first two are text fields, right? Here you've got a what's called a field set. You have a group of radio buttons. Remember, radio buttons are mutually exclusive, where you basically can only choose one of them. Okay, you only can choose one. Whereas checkboxes down here, the second field set, second group here, these can be, you could choose 0 to many, right? You could choose 0 to many. This next one down here is a text box here. And then also down below, you've got a text area to go ahead and add your favorite song and what it means to you. Down here are the two buttons. And like I said just a minute ago, I'm using the button tag instead of the input type equals a button. So I'll go ahead and show you a little bit of the code I'm using for this. So one thing to keep in mind here, always remember that your labels need to match your for in your label needs to match the ID, okay, of your input. So that what that does is it binds this label to this input. Okay, actually, let me show you something on that real quick. So when you click on like a label, let's see, this isn't a good one here. Actually, if you click on this label all the way over there, it will click on this button. You don't have to be exactly here, because when you click on this label, it actually selects the button. It's because the label is attached. That the label is associated. It's attached. Bind it. So a word that's going to used in this case. To bind it to that radio button. So by just even click on the label, it will work on the button. Now let me show you how, real quick, since we're here. So let's just say I change this label to Rock 1 here, and I'm going to save this. We're going to run this again. Now this time, if I come over here and click on this, look, it won't do it. This one will work, clicking on this label, because now it's not binded. This one's not binded. This first one's not binded anymore. So you have to actually get in there and click it. It's just a very nice feature, so that you don't have to be exactly, especially if you got smaller forms, you don't have to be exactly in that radio button. You can just click on the label itself. And it also is very important for making it required and error messages and all kinds of things like that as well. All right, let's get back and fix that up. Okay. So the first one, so this whole class form group is just a label, it's a class that created for this purpose, and it's just for styling purposes, right? So here, let's look at the form group up here. So the form group display flex, we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I don't want to. That's actually something we're going to cover later on, actually starting next week. But you can give it whatever kind of styling you want. If you want to look into flex a little bit, you can. There's a lot, it's not real intuitive. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. If you want to go ahead and do what I did, but you can also add some different styling for each form group. And you don't even have to do that much as well, okay? The important thing is just to make sure that you meet the requirements as basically stated in the homework assignment. But so we've got the name, the email, then here's your list of your favorite music genres. And as you notice, there's a field set, right? So you want to wrap those in field sets, and that's based on those requirements, right? So you're going to wrap those radio buttons in a field set. You're going to wrap those check boxes in a field set. All right. And that's about all you really need to worry about on that field set stuff. So here for this, what does music do for you? Let me actually make this a little better so we can see both screens. So this, what does the music do for you? What I'm doing here is a select with options, okay? And as you can see, it is doing a size of 3. So that's pretty much what it should only show about 3. I don't know why it kind of shows a little bit more, but it's probably more of a styling thing. But by doing 3, it'll only show 3. Okay. If I change this to a 4, let's just make it bigger than that. 5. You can see how it grew on that. Okay. I think the requirement says 3. The direction, so make that 3. And also there's this multiple, and what multiple does is allows you, here let's actually make it bigger so it's easier for us to see in that. So it's a little bit easier for us to see. And so by doing multiple, you can actually go in here holding down your control key and click in, so I can select relax, I can select focus, I can select escape. So you can do multiple, right? Or you can do basically a shift and click. It'll get all of them, right? If you do a shift and click, holding down the shift. But like I said, you always can do the control to select certain ones. And then you can unselect them by holding down the control and clicking that again. So that is what multiple does. If you get rid of multiple here, it won't allow you. It'll only allow you to choose one, right? Okay. So that's what that does. Let's put this back to 3 because I think that's how I had that. And the other thing I kind of want to go through is the buttons here real quick. So the buttons are down here, and there's a button group. So I have both a submit and a reset button. It's important to have this type correct, okay? If you don't, it won't know that it's actually a submit button. So when you submit this, you'll see all of that. You will see that all those parameters, all that past data up in your address bar up here. If you do it right, you hit submit, right? It's actually not going to go anywhere because it's not binded to a back-end service. It's not pointed to a back-end service. But you need to make sure that you have that submit like that. If not, it won't put it up there. And the same thing with reset. You need to have type being reset so it'll reset the form, right? And so let's just kind of look at that real quick. So I'm just going to choose a few of these, and let's hold down a control key. I'll just put some junk in here, hit the submit button, and you can see all of our data that was there. I don't know what happened on that one. It may have actually reset based on that submit button, though. So it's all up there in the address bar, everything you selected. It is resetting it though, but that's okay. Now here also you got this reset button. So if you fill everything in, and this is going to be part of the grade, so you ought to be able to put reset, and it should go ahead and clear everything back out. Okay, so the important thing is have type reset and type submit for these. Okay, otherwise these buttons, you don't have to have it. Doesn't have to look exactly like this form, but just the basic functionality needs to at least be there. Okay, and you just need to follow the directions as in that assignment. What I guess I did for like the form for the buttons here, I got a button submit with a color green and a button reset with kind of a reddish color, right? So, okay, I guess that's all I have. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope this helps you a little bit. And that's all I have. So thanks and have a good day.